So I am live on YouTube, and it appears that I am also live in the group. Okay, guys. So today we're doing another live for the Keto Kickstart group. Today we're going to be talking about the structure, okay, of a ketogenic diet. Um, as always, I ask for questions about this subject, like the structure of a ketogenic diet, and I got actually several really good questions in the group um, from TJ, because I don't want to screw up his first name. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to cover actually his questions because his questions are things that I was going to cover anyway. And then I'm going to go ahead and just do my little talk about some of the other subjects that I was planning on discussing. And then I'm going to go ahead and answer any questions that come in on the Facebook live stream or on the YouTube live stream. Okay, so first of all, what he wanted to know, he wanted to know my thoughts on fat refeed versus carb refeed, nuts doing this diet, keto salads, what ingredients are and are not allowed. And then he had a said personal question in parentheses. If I have any blood work on my keto or pure protein journey and any deficiencies. Okay, so let me just knock them out. Fat refeed versus carb refeed is something I was certainly going to discuss already. And so, like I said, let me just answer his question right now. So, first of all, if you don't know what a carb refeed is, it's basically when you're on a ketogenic diet and you go ahead and have carbohydrates one day of the week. It could be 2 days of the week, but basically you go several days without carbs, and then one day you usually drop the fat and you severely increase the carbs on that one day. Vince Gironda's steak and eggs diet, my first ketogenic diet was like this. Okay. It was an old 70s bodybuilding diet. He was, like I said, nutritionist to the stars, among them Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was kind of chubby, kind of smooth before he learned how to cut weight with Vince Gironda. So anyway, Vince Gironda's steak and eggs diet started out where you would have steak and eggs as much as you want in the morning and in the evening, and you would basically just drink water in between. Okay. It later became the meat, eggs, and water diet because it wasn't just steak and eggs. You could eat any kind of meat, okay, and eggs in those two meals. Later on, to get a fiber source, he had you having like a large salad, okay. But what he actually said was your muscles would get flat if you didn't take in carbohydrates once in a while, okay. And he would therefore have you taking in carbs. Now, the carbs he had you taking in were just like a little bowl of rice or something every maybe 3 or 4 days, so your muscles filled up. Most of the people who actually followed the diet, like the 70s bodybuilders that lived this diet, for instance, oh my God, how did I forget his name? He had a YouTube channel. I cannot believe I forgot his name. Anyway, it just escapes me right now. But he was a 70s wrestler who used to train back in Gold's Gym Venice with like Schwarzenegger and all of the bodybuilders. Rick Drayson. Check out. He's dead now, unfortunately, but check out his YouTube channel. He talks a lot about how they did low carb back then, and most of those guys would actually take one day a week where they would just eat a bunch of carbs, and they called it their junk day because they ate junk. He'd have like a big cheesecake all by himself, a big plate of spaghetti and meatballs all by himself, and he'd feel terrible the next day. He'd feel terrible that day, but then whatever. And the problem that I have with this is, first of all, I completely disagree. You do not need carbs to be full and to be vascular, okay, at all. I've shown this several times in my Instagram. I discussed this in the last live. I have, like right now, okay, I've got veins right now, and I'm literally just sitting here. That's not even the hand that I use for my mouse when I use my computer. I haven't worked out, in hours, and I still have veins popping out, and I haven't eaten carbs in years. So if you have your electrolytes up, your water intake up, if you're lean enough, and it helps for me to have a lot of fat in my diet. You don't need a you don't need any carbs to be vascular or to be full. Okay. The anabolic diet, Mario de Pasquale, he's a doctor from Canada who came up with an anabolic diet, was basically keto 5 days a week. And then on 1 or 2 days of the weekend, you would also carb up. It was basically the same as the steak and eggs diet. I've been able to build muscle on pure protein and fat, no carbs whatsoever, no refeeds. Okay. And I actually felt really bad when I was doing that. At first, it was kind of fun. I would basically have my 2 meals of like meat and eggs a day all week. And then on Saturday, I'd go crazy and just eat a bunch of garbage, like a little kid or something. And then Sundays, I feel terrible. I specifically did my refeed on Saturday because I didn't train on Sunday. And I wanted to make sure that I could just not feel good on Sunday and it wouldn't affect my workout. I get bloated because of all the carbs I took in. I gain a lot of water weight. I feel terrible. So then I'd actually need from refeed on Saturday. I need Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, usually Wednesday for all of the bloat to go down. And then it was practically ready for my next refeed on Saturday. I have also done refeeds where I literally figured out with a calculator and a piece of paper exactly how many carbs I need. And I just had like dry bagels and like Greek yogurt for protein. And even then I got bloated. Even then I felt terrible. Hey, Chris Kenny, what's up, man? How's it going? So anyway, like I said, I've done them, and I just felt bad when I did them, and I never felt good. Like there was no reason for me to do that. I felt fine without taking any carbs, so I had no reason to do a carb refeed. So there is no reason just to eat carbs for the sake of eating carbs. Number one. Okay. Number two, it's going to bloat you. It may take you out of ketosis. Most people who have good benefits, um, I know most people they benefit from a ketogenic diet are actually carb addicts. So that means, like, I was talking to one of my one-on-one clients yesterday about doing a fat refeed, and he actually said, he's like, well, carb refeeds like work if you have like discipline, but for him to start eating carbs, then he just goes down and just starts eating all kinds of garbage, and next thing you know, he's off his diet. So most of the people who do on a ketogenic diet do well because they can't handle carbs. They can't eat them in moderation, so they just gorge on them. So that's just an invitation to go off your diet. So I definitely do not recommend you do a carb refeed just for the sake of getting carbs in. It's not necessary, and it's usually bad. Now, why would you need a refeed? You would need a refeed if you were not getting in enough calories. So this guy, for instance, who I was talking about, who I spoke to yesterday, who was one of my one-on-one clients, he's doing a cutting diet. So I got him fat adapted. Then I kept the protein high, but I dropped his fat down low, which means his calories are low. Plus, he doesn't have to compete with burning body fat and burning the food he eats because he's eating less fat, so he has to burn more body fat. So he, after maybe a week, needed a refeed. He needed more calories. So I just told him to make like a big bunch of fatty ground beef and a bunch of eggs and stir it up in a scramble and just have that. And he said, like, immediately when he started eating it, the first couple of bites, he immediately felt the energy coming back up because his body's fat adapted. So he did not bloat. He did not have an insulin spike and get lethargic. He didn't eat a bunch of garbage and just go on a binge. He just had that one meal, felt better, and now he's back in the game. So you do not need a carb refeed. If you don't feel good without carbs, you're not getting fat adapted, which is the point of this group. And if you do need a refeed because you're not taking enough calories, just take in some more fat. So like I said, this guy was on low calories, relatively low fat, and I just had him eat a bunch of fat, which gave him a bunch of calories. He's still under his maintenance, so he's not gaining weight. He's not getting carb bloated. He's just, feeling great. But like I said, even a fat refeed is like an advanced technique. I only use it when you are on a low calorie diet and a relatively low fat diet. Okay, I just had a question here. Guy bought a bunch of food, including avocados. Would avocados be good as a carb source? Avocados are a fat source. Okay, they do have carbs, but it's mostly fiber. So if you like avocados, that's good as a fat source. That's not a carb source, which is good because it means you can eat avocado on a ketogenic diet and you don't have to worry about it too much. Okay, speaking of not worrying about it too much, the next question in the group was nuts on a ketogenic diet. I like using nuts as a source of fat if I have someone on this lower fat, lower calorie ketogenic diet. For instance, when I started this guy off, I had him eating ground beef a couple of times a day, ground beef and eggs, things like that. So it was protein, but a lot of fat. When I dropped down his calories and dropped down his fat intake, what I did is we switched over to more like chicken breast, which is basically pure protein. And to get a little bit of fat in, we added in nuts. Okay. Nuts do have carbs, but most of the carbs are fiber, and you're not taking in huge amounts of them. So as long as you don't take in massive, huge amounts of nuts, you should be fine on a ketogenic diet. Okay. If I were to, when I do increase, as he gets leaner, when I increase his calories, I may increase the amount of nuts he's eating a little bit. And then after that, I'm going to switch back from chicken and nuts. I'll switch that up to, once again, to beef, okay, eggs, things like that. So nuts are okay. At the end of the day, what really matters is the number of carbs you take in a total day. Nobody, regardless of their body weight, wants to take in more than 50 grams of carbs, or net carbs, which is carbs minus fiber, 30. Okay. So like I said, if you eat some almonds here and there as a fat source when you're on a low fat ketogenic diet, you should not have to worry about the carbs too much. It should not be that much of a problem. Okay, which leads us now to keto salads. Okay, what ingredients are good and what are not allowed? You obviously need to worry about the sauce. Okay. If you're taking in a sauce that has a lot of sugar, or any sugar, obviously, that's going to be a problem. Okay. As long as you're sticking more to like oil kind of dressings, you're fine with the sauces on a salad. Salad leaves are obviously okay. They're basically pure fiber. Olives are great on salads. You got fat, you don't have carbs really. Cheese is good. Okay, onions, you could have like some slices of onion in there. Um, you need to be careful about tomatoes because tomatoes do have a lot of carbs, a lot of sugar in there. Don't eat one like an apple, but if you have a slice of tomato here or there, that's kind of okay. It's not really bad. Obviously, definitely do not add in any kind of cheddar cheese. Yes, brother, exactly. Cheddar cheese is good. Don't add in any kind of like, berries, things like that. Okay. There are these salad toppings. It's like salad toppings are like glazed nuts or whatever. That's pure sugar. Um, you also need to be careful with things like, well, they're chicken strips, but they're breaded. So obviously be careful about that. Okay. My go-to salad when I go out, if I go to a Turkish place or a Greek place, obviously I just a salad with, like I said, onions and olives and feta. If I go to an American deli or somewhere, then I'll just have like a Cobb salad, no croutons, of course. I'll have like a Cobb salad with like some oil as a salad dressing, double bacon usually, double gorgonzola sauce. Basically just that kind of stuff. You could have like chicken in it if you want, like, but make sure they're grilled chicken and make sure there's not like breaded chicken. But salads are actually pretty good. And once again, like I said, I love eating salads. Salads do have fiber, but I still, no matter how many salads I take my Psyllium Husk fiber supplement every day because no matter how much salad I eat, I don't feel like I'm got enough fiber unless I take that. Okay. Personal question. Did you have any blood work during your keto pure protein journey? Any deficiencies? No. The only thing that I really take as a supplement is vitamin C. I take a lot of vitamin C. I take a gram in the morning and a gram at night. That's like one of the vitamins where you might actually have an issue. I mean, not have an issue with per se, but one where you don't get a huge ton of it from a ketogenic diet. So if you want to go ahead and if you're worried about the micronutrients, the vitamins and the minerals you get on this diet, go ahead and look at red meat and look at egg yolks. Like break it down and see what the micronutrient content of those are. So like I'm having like a pound and a quarter of beef a day, and I'm having 10 eggs a day. I drink 6 raw in the morning, and then I have 4 eggs with a quarter pound of beef a day. So I'm getting in a lot of egg yolks and I'm getting a lot of beef, and that's just plenty of micronutrients. Okay, so like I said, as beyond that in terms of blood work, the last time that I had my cholesterol tested was like 160, which is like beyond perfect. And that's after years and years and years. If somebody has an issue with taking in too much fat or too much cholesterol, it's literally like an allergy. Okay. Most people produce cholesterol themselves. Their body produces cholesterol. And if you consume more cholesterol, your body produces less. Okay. If you are one of the extraordinarily rare people who eat a lot of cholesterol and their cholesterol goes up, it is possible, but it's like having a peanut allergy. Okay. You can in general say that peanuts are good to eat. Obviously, if you're one of the very few people who has a peanut allergy, that advice does not apply to you. It's the same way with cholesterol. Okay. People used to say that too much protein will damage your kidneys, and that is also not true. This is one of the reasons why I do not trust science, because I'm very careful when I trust science, because a doctor was researching people who had damaged kidneys, and people who had damaged kidneys and consumed protein in large amounts, it was bad for their damaged kidneys. So at the end of the day, what basically happened is he's like, well, I guess if it's not good when you're fucked up, then it's probably not good when you're healthy either. So I'm going to tell people they should, that protein hurts your kidneys. No studies, nothing. It was just something that some guy made up. And several studies later, it's been proven that healthy kidneys, like the vast majority of people, you cannot damage your kidneys with protein. Once again, it's like a peanut allergy. If you have a peanut allergy, you should probably not eat peanuts, okay? If you have damaged kidneys, you might want to not consume huge amounts of protein. But if you have normal bodies, you can consume cholesterol with no problem. According to the American Heart Association and all these science groups, you have no problem. Question, I'll get that in a second. You should have no problem if you have healthy kidneys taking in protein. You should have no problem if you have a healthy body taking in cholesterol. It should not affect anything unless you have a predetermined predisposition to that. Okay, got a question from James Richardson in the Facebook group. First of all, thank you very much for jumping into the Facebook group. I know you just joined. I appreciate it. Look around. What's the best way to start losing weight? Okay, the best way to start losing weight is quite simply just to burn fewer calories than you are already burning. Okay. Now, when you jump on a ketogenic diet, a lot of people, like I said, have great results on a ketogenic diet. And I think the reason is they are like me and they cannot control themselves when they eat carbs. So if you jump on a ketogenic diet, you're not going to be eating carbs. Like I said about this guy, one of my one-on-one clients, he's eating high protein, relatively low fat, low calories. He needed a refeed, and I told him, go ahead and make a bunch of fatty beef and a bunch of eggs and scramble it up and eat it. And he felt great, and he stopped. And he said, he's like, when he was doing carb refeeds, he would start eating some carbs and then he would never stop. And next thing you know, he eats a whole bunch of garbage and he goes ahead and bloats up again. Okay. So that's a perfect example of someone who, like me, cannot eat carbs in moderation. So just the fact that you're not eating carbs means you're not going to be eating like for fun. Okay. So first of all, you're not going to be eating carbs just like for fun. So that reduces the amount of food you eat. It makes it easier to eat in a deficit. You're not going to be drinking carbs, so you can't drink, water, soda, wine, juices, okay, milkshakes, etc. You can't be drinking stuff like that. So you're also not going to be drinking a lot of calories. I mean, if you look at beer, if you look at if you look at beer, if you look at soda, they have incredible amounts of calories. Okay, so and there's very little difference in sugar content and in calories between soda and juices. I knew guys who were like, "Oh, I'm drinking juice instead of soda. Now I'm going to lose weight." I'm like, "No, you're not." He's like, "Oh, you don't understand. It's different." Well, you don't understand because I knew the guy for another 8 months after he stopped drinking soda, started drinking juice. He actually gained weight. So the bottom line is, like I said, when you jump on a ketogenic diet, you don't drink any calories really. So that's another reason why you lose weight. So what I do is I suggest you go on a ketogenic diet. It helps a lot of people. And I suggest you eat at the calories for your goal body weight at first. Okay. I have a guy right now who's 250 plus, very big bodybuilder trying to get down to a very lean 200. And I have another guy who's 250 plus who's trying to get down to 100s and no, he's 220 trying to get down to 155. So one guy has to lose like 50 plus, the other guy has to lose like 65 pounds. And what I did for both of them is I had them go down to their goal body weight maintenance calories. Okay. So the 250-pound guy is eating like a 200-pound guy. So he's automatically losing weight. And it's very pleasant. He wants to lose weight faster, so we drop some of the fat, drop some of the calories even more. But still, just by going on a ketogenic diet and eating at your goal body weight maintenance calories, you're going to be able to lose weight. So, for instance, James, if I'm correct, I think you said something about you weighed like 300 pounds. Let's say you want to go down to 200 pounds, okay? So you would eat for 200 pounds, which means at, let's say, 15 calories per pound of body weight, you would be eating at, let's say, 1,500 calories less than your maintenance, okay? So by eating at like 1,500 calories less than your maintenance, you should be losing, like easily like 2.5 pounds a week, 3 pounds a week, just by doing that. Okay. So that's pretty good advice if you want to go ahead and lose weight. Okay. Let's see how I can do this. I've got my phone up and I've got my computer up. Let's see if I can go ahead and check out some of these comments on YouTube because they're kind of disappearing. Okay. Okay, let's see in the comment section here. So, how many calories do I suggest you take to go from 212 to 180 in a few months on the ketogenic diet? What I would really suggest you do, what I really suggest you do is get fat adapted. And just go to 180 times 15. I think that's 2,700 calories. So that's where I would start. I'd start with 2,700 calories. And like if you wanted to lose weight faster, I'd suggest that you actually keep your protein the same, but you drop some of your fat. So basically you're 212. You're eating for a 180-pound guy. So that's a 42 pound times 15, what would that be, like 600 calories a day? Am I correct here? No. Was it 1,200 calories a day? I think 1,200 calories a day under your maintenance where you'd be eating. And then, like I said, if you want to lose weight even faster, I'd suggest you keep the protein up after you're fat adapted, and then you drop your fat even further. You tripping? What's up, Brian? I've seen you around in the comment section. Why do I do fat refeeds only when I notice fat loss stalling or metabolism problems? Wouldn't it be smarter to generally do one refeed per week? Okay, so this is the deal. I don't do refeeds when I have fat loss stalling. I do refeeds when you have metabolism problems. Okay, so it's a toss-up. You can either think of it like this. You could work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and get good sleep at night and sleep on the weekends. Or you could work like, 12, 16 hours a day, like 7 days a week, and make a lot of money in a short amount of time. And if you're exhausted, you just take one day off and you sleep all day. Now, does it make more sense to do 8 hours a day, 5 days a week? And sleep every night 8-10 hours and take the weekends off? Yes, it does. But if you want to make a lot of money in a short amount of time, you can work double time every day, 16 hours a day, plus working, working another 16 hours every Saturday and Sunday. That would be like 5, 6, 7, 8. That would be like an extra 9 days of work. That would literally be like tripling your weekly income. Now, obviously, your body can only handle that for so long, and at some point, you would need to take a day off and sleep. And it's the same thing here. Yeah, you could go ahead and just cut your calories a little bit. Like I said, if this guy's 212 and he eats for 180, okay, he won't need a refeed day. The diet will get easier as it goes along because as he loses weight, he'll be in less of a caloric deficit. So he should be able to go ahead and just eat for 180 and theoretically kind of cruise into his goal body weight. Okay, it will also take longer. If you want to lose weight faster, lose more weight faster, you're going to have to do something more drastic, and that's where you push the limit. You cut your calories, you cut your fat down relatively low. And after a few days, when you're like, okay, this is starting to suck, then you have a fat refeed, So like I said, I mean, it's up to you, Does it make more sense? Well, I mean, maybe if you have plenty of time, you just want to slowly lose weight, yes, it would for you make more sense. If somebody has a deadline why they have to lose weight, or if somebody's sick, like if somebody's legitimately pre-diabetic, joints are grinding down, back hurts, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, asthma, can't breathe, can't move. Maybe it makes sense to push it a little bit. So like I said, it really depends upon what your timeline is, how much you have to lose, yeah, that's basically it. Okay. So like I said, it's like, that's really the only reason why you would have to do a refeed. Yeah, and like I said, you should not do any refeeds because if you're eating enough fat and enough calories, still in a deficit, but eating enough fat, enough calories all week, why would you need to do a refeed? Like there wouldn't be a need to do a refeed if you're in a slight deficit, okay? And you're getting enough fats. Okay, good. So let's see some things that I wanted to talk. Okay, so if we have any more questions, certainly let me know. Okay, questions, no. Okay, so if we don't have more questions, then I'll kind of go, please feel free to ask any questions. I'm going to go ahead and just do my little spiel here. Okay, so the structure of a ketogenic diet, what everybody's doing in the group right now, what they're doing is they're just getting fat adapted. Okay, they drop their carbs, they increase their electrolyte, their water, their fiber, and their fat intakes. Okay, and the point right now is to get their bodies used to burning fat for fuel instead of carbs, to get over a carb addiction. Okay, now after this is done, when they're feeling good on low carb, now they need to go ahead and decide what they want to do. Most people, let's be honest, want to lose fat in general. So what I do is I figure out for your goal body weight. Okay, remember, I've got a 250-pound guy who wants to weigh 200. I've got a 220-pound guy who wants to weigh 155. So basically, I figure out for your goal body weight, like the 250 guy, I figure out a 200-pound guy, what his protein intake would be, and that just remains. That just remains the whole time. Now, what I do is I figure out his maintenance calories, okay, for that body weight by adding in fat. So he gets protein for his body weight, calories for his body weight, and to make up the difference between the protein and calories and the total calories, I just add in some fat. So that's what I suggest you do, okay? If you want to lose fat, what I suggest you do is use something that I call the pure protein diet, okay? And the pure protein diet is where you eat the same amount of protein, but you drastically lower the amount of fat you're taking in, okay? Like I said, because you're doing this fat adapted already, you're going to be able to burn body fat. So you should feel good for a while. At some point, you're going to start feeling like you need a refeed. So then you go ahead and you have a fat refeed. It's usually just going to be like one meal, Okay, that's what I did with this guy. I gave him one meal yesterday. He had it. He felt good. I haven't heard back from him today, so I guess he's feeling okay. And like I said, after a couple of days, when he needs it, we'll give him another fat refeed. Okay. Um, there's going to come a time where we're going to have to change things. So we either could increase the amount of fat and therefore calories he's taking in every day slowly. We could give him a fat refeed day where, like, this day you're going to eat at maintenance for your goal body weight, which is a lot more fat, which would give him a lot more energy, satiate his hunger, etc. Okay. Or we could do a diet break. And a diet break would be, once again, eating at the maintenance calories for his goal body weight. Okay. So that's what I would do. Like I said, I would do that until we get as lean as he wants to be. Okay. A lot of people, especially if they're not training and if they are very overweight, like 50 plus pounds to lose, especially if it's like 100 plus pounds to lose, and they haven't been training before, they will be able to gain muscle during this process, which means if you think that your goal body weight would be like 180, it might be more like 185, 190, depending upon how long it takes for you to get there. So when we get as lean as you want to be, then we just slowly increase calories until you don't have any cravings anymore, until you're feeling okay. Okay. And that's the best way to find what your maintenance calories are. You could say 15 calories per pound is not bad to figure out your maintenance calories. So a 200-pound guy should be eating around 3,000 calories, but it's never perfect. Okay. I was in the low 190s and I was maintaining my body weights with 3,200 calories, to give you guys an example. It has to do with the amount of muscle you have, certainly with the amount of exercise you're doing, the amount of calories you're burning. So the really best way to figure out your calories is just to go below your calories and then increase your calories until your craving goes away, until your energy is normal, until you're feeling good, and then just keep them there. Okay. Um, and that's like I said, the best way to lose fat quickly and to get your maintenance calories. Okay. Um, Adding in the fat refeeds as necessary, or the refeed days, or the diet breaks is the best way to keep you from binging. Because I've noticed when people try to push a diet too long, too hard, and I've done it myself, they binge. And they usually binge by eating garbage. Okay. So, like I said, that's the best way to do that. In terms of the structure of the diet, I suggest you eat outside of when you're getting fat adapted every 3 hours. Okay. You should want to build muscle. Let's be honest. The older that you get, the less muscle you have. You will lose muscle as you get older. We've all seen these old ladies and these old men that were perhaps okay when they were younger, but they had so little muscle. When they started to lose it, they became frail. They could barely walk through a grocery store, barely carry groceries, barely walk up a flight of stairs. So the more muscle that you have when you're younger, the better you're going to age. You're not going to be this frail old man or this frail old lady who can't move. So you want to build muscle, and the best way to build muscle is to eat every few hours. Okay. I said it before, muscle protein synthesis, like the body creating muscle out of the protein you eat, happens every time that you eat protein. Okay. So if you eat protein every, let's say, 3 hours, you're initiating muscle protein synthesis every 3 hours. It doesn't mean that you cannot build muscle if you eat once a day or whatever, but it will be more efficient. Okay. Think of it like earning a couple extra dollars a day. You know, if you earn an extra $10 a day, it's not going to make a big deal. But over the course of months and months and months, if you actually save the $10 a day that you're making, yes, it will kind of add up over time. Okay. So it's the same thing here. It's just going to be another benefit, another way for you to build more muscle. Another thing about eating every few hours is you're going to not be hungry when you're on a cut. You know, a lot of people, when they do one meal a day or intermittent fasting, they'll be starving. And then when they start to eat, they can't stop. I've been asked this lots of times. So what I actually do is I like to front load the fat and front load the calories in the diet. That means if you wake up, you have a big fatty meal first, and that satiates your hunger, and that gives you energy for the day. Then you might eat another meal, let's say of just protein, which satiates your hunger a little bit. Then another meal of protein and some fat, then another meal of protein, another meal of protein and some fat, and then at night you might have some like milk-based protein, like Greek yogurt with some whey protein. So what that does is it satiates your hunger, gives you energy in the morning. You start to get hungry in a few hours, have some protein. Start to get hungry in a few hours, have some protein and fat, and that's the way that you can a stay on like a lower fat ketogenic diet, lower calorie ketogenic diet for a long time, while still maintaining your mood, maintaining your productivity, maintaining your cognitive abilities, your energy, and not cheating because you're not starving hungry. Okay. So that's the way, like I said, that I structure a diet. As we increase the fat, I suggest you increase the fat over the day. Okay. So, for instance, when a lot of people start my pure protein diet, they'll have like 3 pure protein meals a day, and then they'll have like 3 meals of protein with a little bit of fat. Okay. So when we increase the calories and increase the fat to transition out and go back to your maintenance calories, we'll do like 4 protein and fat meals a day and only 2 protein meals a day. Okay. After a while, we'll actually increase the fat content of one meal. We'll call it what I say is a high fat meal. So you'll have, instead of like, say, chicken and almonds, you'll have like big fatty ground beef, maybe some eggs. Okay. And then the rest of the day, you'll have like, chicken and almonds, for instance. Okay. And we slowly build up throughout the day the amount of fat, the amount of calories you're taking in. For the people in the Keto Kickstart group, you guys know I have you taking in calcium magnesium tablets in the morning and the evening to spread out those 2 electrolytes, putting sodium and potassium salt on all of your food, drinking plenty of water, having fiber supplement, a psyllium husk fiber supplement at night in between meals. Fiber could interfere with the digestion of food, and you don't want to interfere with the digestion of your protein. So if I eat, like, let's say a meal at 6 p.m., and I have my last meal at 9 p.m., somewhere between 7 and 8, I'll go ahead and have my psyllium husk fiber supplement. Okay. And like I said, that's basically the way that that's basically the way that I structure my my ketogenic diet. Like I said, it's basically like a traditional bodybuilding type diet. The only difference is that, like I said, we're not eating carbs. And instead of doing fat refeeds, we're doing, instead of doing carb refeeds, we're doing fat refeeds. And the way that we go and lower our calories is by dropping down the amount of fat that we're eating on a given day. But it does work, and it does work very well, because, like I said, if you take your electrolytes, your fiber, your water, and plenty of fat, you're not going to get the keto flu. You're immediately going to not going to have any constipation, any diarrhea. You're immediately going to get fat adapted. And also, once you're fat adapted, if you lower your fat, you're going to be able to go on low calories and low fat at 0 carbs with no problem. So actually feel good on this lower fat, low calorie ketogenic cutting diet. So, any more questions? Yes. Okay, let's see. Any new insights on cardio? How should we incorporate into our strength training? Okay, John D. Tomas, thank you very much for the question. Appreciate it. Okay, so what I've said before is you do not need cardio to burn fat. Okay, if I eat maintenance 3,000 calories and I drop it down to like 2.5 or 2,000 or whatever, I'm going to be losing fat. Okay, if you could also use cardio. So if I go 3,000 calories and I eat the same amount, but I do 500 calories worth of cardio, well, now I'm at a 500 calorie deficit. If I do a 2,500 calorie diet and do 500 calories of cardio, I'm effectively eating 2,000 calories a day. I'm in a 1,000 calorie a day deficit. So you do not have to do cardio to burn fat. You could do it easily just with diet. Okay. On the flip side, no matter how much cardio you do, you can always out eat it. Okay. So if you burn, 500 calories doing cardio, and then you have a hamburger from, whatever with a soda and stuff, and you take in like 1,000 calories, well, now you're, instead of being in a 500 calorie deficit, you're at a 500 calorie surplus. Okay. You cleared out like everything you did. So you have to control your diet regardless of whether you do cardio or not. And if you control your diet enough, you don't have to do cardio. You do have to do cardio, however, for health purposes. I do cardio for cognitive reasons. Like when I go on my walks, I actually clear my mind and relax. And also for work performance. If you're a soldier, if you're a firefighter, law enforcement, professional athlete, you just have to have good cardio. Okay. And that is going to determine what kind and how much cardio you do. So, like I said, if you just want to lose fat, you don't have to do any cardio at all. If you want to maybe lose a little bit more fat, but you just want to do it, do something good for your heart, walking is fine. Walking is a great exercise. If you want to do explosive cardio, so like I said, like somebody who has to like run up a flight of stairs, as like a soldier clearing a building, okay, has to run from one side of the street to the other, like sprinting. A boxer or a MMA fighter, judo, wrestling, whatever. When you're fighting, you always have to do like a few seconds of flurry, and then you have like a short break. So you like throw a bunch of punches and you kind of circle, throw a bunch of punches and kind of circle. You scramble for a takedown, and then you kind of like, rest and try to like, kind of like improve your position. But there's always an intense part and then a rested part. And then that part, if you have something where you need explosive movement like that, then you have to do sprints, hill sprints, burpee intervals, jump rope intervals, plyometric intervals. A fighter would do great doing like pad intervals, hitting the focus mitts or the tie pads, kicking drills as intervals where you kick like, 10 times like real quick. And then like the other guy kicks 10 times real quick, and then 10 times real quick, and the other guy kicks 10 times real quick. And that will train you not just to be explosive when you strike, but it will train you to be explosive for a short amount of time and then rest and then recover. Okay. I was talking to a guy today who who's an MMA fighter, and I told him it's like two guys are fighting, and in the beginning they're both at 100%. So they like throw a bunch of punches or try to go for a takedown, throw some knees, whatever. They're in a clinch, and they're going at it, and then it kind of stops and they circle. So one guy recovers because he trains his body to go 100 miles an hour and then recover. The other guy does like long jogging, so he doesn't train his body to go 100% and then recover. So they're at 100%. They scramble, have a flurry of punches. This guy's 100% again. This guy's at like 80%. So then they go ahead and they have another scramble where they're trying to grapple, doing punches, whatever. And then they rest again. This guy's again at 100%. This guy went from 100 to 80. Now he's at 60%. Then they do it again. Now this guy's once again at 100%. This guy's at 40%. So, and I've seen that happen. So like I said, if you're specifically need explosive ability, like go 100% and then recover quickly, you need to train like that. And another good hint for people who do combat sports is keep your mouthpiece in when you're training. When you're doing jump rope, when you're doing burpees, when you're doing plyos, when you're sparring, when you're doing bag work, pad work, when you're rolling on the ground doing like a shark tank kind of exercise for jiu-jitsu, keep your mouthpiece in, because there's a big difference between being able to breathe with your mouth open and then you get in a fight and you have your mouthpiece in, and it's like, okay, well, this completely changes things. Like I thought I was doing well, I thought I was doing well at my cardio, but now I can't fucking breathe. So like I said, definitely train with your mouthpiece in. Okay, John B. Finding out steak and eggs might not be for me. Having horrible acid reflux, bloating, and stomach cramps. Drinking a lot of water as well. Okay, are you in the Keto Kickstart group? You should be. Okay. Okay, so first of all, make sure that you are legitimately just eating steak and eggs. Thanks, John D. Gotcha. Make sure you're legitimately just eating steak and eggs. Like I said, some people, throw like sauces and stuff like that or whatever, kind of screws them up. But if you're literally just eating like meat and eggs and water, are you taking in, like I said, your potassium salt, your sodium salt? Are you taking your calcium, magnesium supplements? Are you taking in your psyllium husk fiber supplement? Are you drinking enough water? There are like a million things. Now, there are people out there who, for some reason, I don't know, their bodies are screwed up and they just don't deal well with certain foods, or they don't deal well with certain diets. But in general, like I said, it's really hard it's really hard to believe. Not that I'm calling you a liar, but I'm just saying maybe there's something you're missing. Because, like, for instance, if you do an elimination diet, like you have some kind of a reaction to some kind of food. Okay. We need to find out what it is. So you do an elimination diet. You eliminate anything that could be causing you a problem. And the only two foods that are like almost 100% guaranteed to not be causing any kind of problems, any kind of reactions are beef and egg yolks. Okay. Like beef and egg yolks are like the two foods that it's like almost impossible to have a reaction against. So, like I said, it's if you're legitimately eating like, like I said, legitimately eating like steak, like beef steak and eggs, it's really hard that to believe like something's going on. Like I said, I mean, some people just throw all kinds of sauces on top of it, whatever that people might be reacting to. But like I said, if somebody were to come up to me like, dude, I have some kind of a problem, something's wrong with me, I would drop them down to like eggs and beef, or specifically eggs and yolks, because some people might even have a problem with egg whites. Okay, as rare as that is, but like I said, it's really almost like impossible to have like a reaction to to steak and eggs, unless you're a very, very, very rare person. I mean, there are people with sunlight allergies. They go out in the sun and their fucking head explodes like a vampire or something. Like, so like I said, it's like there's a possibility that there's something like that. But in general, I would really be sure that you're eating enough electrolytes, enough water, enough fiber, and like I said, just keeping it to steak and eggs. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, it's like okay, like I said, I mean, if that's literally what you're doing, like I said, it's I don't know. Like I said, it's like, well, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Actually, go ahead and like if you want, go ahead and message me on Instagram at Raw Strength and Muscle. Just go ahead and message me on Instagram, and like I said, I'll talk. I'm kind of curious about that because it's like I said, it's very rare. You may be one of the people who are just have horrible luck because, like I said, there are literally people out there who have sunlight allergies. There are people out there who like do have problems with eating certain kinds of foods that you know um that, like I said, don't react well to them, but that's like extraordinarily rare because, like I said, it's a very yeah, you did the steak and eggs diet 5 years ago and you were fine. Yeah, like I said, that's exactly it. It's something. So one thing that I might recommend actually is so check this out. What I might recommend if you're having issues with steak and eggs is digestive enzymes. Okay, so what I noticed recently is I can drink raw eggs and I'm fine. Okay, if I eat cooked eggs, I start to get some bloating. Okay, it's nothing horrible, but it shouldn't be happening. Okay, so for everybody who's watching, by the way, this is just something else that's interesting out there is if you're getting like gas or bloating or something, that shit's not funny. Okay, like you should not have that. What basically it means is instead of digesting your food is fermenting inside of your body and producing like swamp gas. Okay, and that's literally what's happening. So number one, it's not cool to have gas and bloating, but on the other hand, it's like what it basically means is that you're not getting the benefit of the food you're eating because it's festering inside of you instead of actually being digested and being absorbed. So you're not getting the nutrition from it. So like I said, for me, what happened is I would start getting some bloating when I had cooked eggs. So what I take is with every meal that has eggs now cooked, I take digestive enzymes. I like the brand Vitamin Shot brand multi enzymes, and I'll just take two of them as I sit down to eat my egg meal, and my food completely digests. Um, you're using digestive enzymes as well, LOL. Okay, that's funny. Like I said, that's crazy because that's the one thing that I couldn't possibly have imagined. Um, yeah. Okay. Like I said, definitely go ahead and hit me up on Instagram if you want to like message about that because I'm kind of curious about how this could be happening. But yeah, like I said, the bottom line is if you do have for some reason bloating or indigestion or whatever when you eat a certain kind of food, go ahead and look into digestive enzymes. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of fiber as well. Vince Gironda really affected. Like I really read everything he had and found everything out about him when I started learning about ketogenic diets. And he was a big fan of digestive enzymes too. He used to say, like, it doesn't matter what you eat. You could eat a perfect diet. If you don't perfectly digest it, you might as well have not eaten the food. So digestive enzymes for some people are necessary. You say that things worked before. That's another thing. It's kind of like, certain hormones or whatever that your body doesn't produce as you get older. Sometimes people don't produce the digestive enzymes they need or the stomach acid they need. So, like I said, digestive enzymes help. Number one. And number two, like you said, that you have like reflux. A lot of times people have like indigestion and they take like Tums or something to neutralize the acid in their stomach. But the fact of the matter is actually they have too little stomach acid. So by taking the Tums or the antacid, they're actually making it worse. It feels better, but they're actually making the situation worse. So that's another example of somebody who should go ahead and, like I said, take the digestive enzymes so they can digest their food. So, like I said, like I said, if you want, you can go ahead and, like I said, hit me up on Instagram and we'll talk about that. That'd be, like I said, interesting for me as well. Okay, good. Um, Okay. So anyway, I hope that answers everybody's questions. Have any more questions? No. Any Facebook questions? No. I think I answered everything. Anyway, like I said, TJ, appreciate you from the Facebook group, and you asked some awesome questions. Those were all things except for the blood work. Those were all questions that I was going to answer anyway. So you kind of read my mind with your questions. Thank you very much. Thank you to the guys in YouTube who asked questions. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys asking questions. That's pretty cool. And like I said, if anybody wants to learn more, just go ahead and follow me on YouTube for sure. Follow me on Instagram if you want. And like I said, Manuel, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. That's nice of you. That's cool. Thank you for everything. I appreciate that. All right, cool, man. Like I said, if anybody has any questions, just go ahead and comment down below here. I'm going to be doing my next live in the Facebook group and on YouTube on Monday. So when I post in the community, hey, questions, just go ahead and ask your questions there. Otherwise, like I said, if you guys actually have time, you can go ahead and check out the live. It's going to be Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And like I said, aside from that, Raw Strength and Muscle on Instagram. Thank you once again for the questions. Thank you once again for the thank yous. And all right, I will see you guys in the next video. Marvin Brown, thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you.